Hi, Rangers family, gather round because there is a different feeling in the air after this latest match. Rangers have just secured a victory over St. Mirren by Doe's and beyond the scoreline, it feels like a statement. It trims the distance at the top to seize Pontos, not enough to shout about titles yet, but enough to remind everyone that this team is not stepping aside for anyone. Nobody here is throwing around talk of favourites. Nobody is pretending trophies are guaranteed, but Rangers have shown that they are in the race. They are contenders, and that alone changes the temperature of Scottish football right now. What is happening across the city only adds fuel to the fire. Celtic have stumbled again. Another defeat, their quinta derrota under the new manager. The pressure is building, the atmosphere looks tense, and the cracks feel harder to ignore. Every match seems to bring more frustration for them and more momentum for Rangers. I mean, the contrast between improvement on one side and confusion on the other could not be clearer at the moment, and you can feel the shift in confidence. Rangers looked organised, well-drilled and purposeful. Celtic looked unsure, disconnected, and far from convincing. There are moments in a season that feel like turning points, almost like the door has swung open to a new phase. Some people would call it a watershed moment. The kind of performance where the plaster is ripped off, the discomfort is exposed, and you see what a team really is. Watching Celtic struggle on the pitch, unable to find rhythm, unable to connect passes, unable to defend with conviction. It felt like that moment, not because of a single mistake or a single goal, but because of the full 90 minutes, the gaps at the back, the lack of structure, the decisions that went missing when pressure arrived. It looked like a team without a clear direction, and that is a dangerous position to be in when rivals are gathering strength. On the Rangers' side, there is something that feels more defined. The goals came from effort, movement, and a squad that knows what their responsibilities are. Even when the match tightened up, there was no panic. The midfield pressed with purpose, the defense held shape, and there was belief in every second ball. It was not perfect, and there is a long way to go, but it was a performance that showed structure. For the first time in a while, Rangers looked like a team that can grow game by game instead of hoping for luck to carry them through matches. Celtic supporters, on the other hand, seem exhausted. You can hear it in the way they talk about matches now. They speak about systems that are not working, chances that never come, defensive lines that never settle. They talk about how difficult it is to watch the team play, how progress feels like one step forward and deux passes para atrás. The frustration is reaching a point where the supporters are questioning what direction the club is even moving in. When a fan base starts talking about effort, concentration, simple passes, and fear on the ball, it is never a sign of a healthy environment. Those are the issues of a side that has lost its identity. There was a moment during the discussion after the match where someone said that Celtic looked like the easiest team in the league to score against. That is a brutal assessment, but the evidence is there. Matches where the opposition scores early, matches where sustained pressure leads to collapse, matches where there is no clean sheet to steady the season. It is not about one fixture, it is about a recurring pattern. If a well-organized side presses them, they struggle. If a team keeps composure in midfield, Celtic lose structure. If the opponent forces decisions, the confidence drains away. Those problems spread quickly, and they do not disappear without leadership. Meanwhile, Rangers are beginning to show signs of evolution. Not perfection, not dominance, but evolution. There are passes being made with purpose, channels being used intelligently, and pressing that actually forces mistakes. The squad looks more prepared to manage matches, more willing to defend as a unit, more capable of taking control instead of reacting. It is not about dreaming too high or getting ahead of reality, but about acknowledging progress. The defense still needs consistency. The attack still needs sharper finishing, but there is a sense of direction again. That alone is worth recognizing. The reality is that Scottish football thrives when these two sides push each other, and right now only one of them looks like they're pushing. Rangers are gaining belief. Celtic are searching for answers. Matches like this do not decide a title, but they shape the narrative of the season. They create momentum, pressure, expectation, and doubt. Every victory Rangers collect increases the weight on Celtic's next fixture. Every match Celtic drop points in gives Rangers more confidence to chase rather than settle. It becomes psychological as much as tactical. Some will say it is too early to judge. Others will argue that the signs have been there from the start. What cannot be ignored is the contrast. One club moving upward in performance, the other stuck, repeating the same issues. There is still a long path ahead, still many difficult matches, still moments that will test both sides. But after this latest round, it is impossible not to feel that something has shifted. The league table might still show a gap, but the performances tell a different story. And if momentum continues like this, that gap will not feel secure for long. Now, the attention turns to the next match, and the anticipation is already building. The derby waiting on the horizon feels charged in a way it has not for a while. One side arrives with belief, rhythm, structure. The other arrives facing questions, pressure, doubts. Nothing about a derby is guaranteed. Form does not always matter, and anything can happen, but based on performances alone, based on how both teams are playing football right now, the conversation feels different. The confidence is different. The expectation is different. The way supporters are reacting tells its own story. Across Scotland, the feeling is that Rangers are building something step by step, while Celtic are trapped in a circle of promises that never turn into performances. You can sense the frustration in the way their fans speak, as if the team has forgotten the basics. They talk about misplaced passes, panic in the defense, a midfield that cannot hold shape, and forwards who struggle to create chances. When a club reaches that point, it is not just about tactics or formations. It becomes emotional. It becomes psychological. It becomes a weight that sits on every player who steps onto the pitch. Rangers, on the other hand, are beginning to find that belief again. They are not perfect, and nobody is pretending they are, but there is intent in every match. You can see players pressing as a unit, midfielders taking responsibility instead of hiding, defenders organizing the line instead of reacting late. Even the supporters recognize it. The energy is different inside the stadium. The noise is different. The confidence is not careless or arrogant. It is earned. It is the kind of confidence that comes from knowing that when the whistle blows, the team has a plan and the players know their roles. When a manager arrives and the squad starts showing signs of structure, it changes the atmosphere completely. The distance between players shortens, the transitions become smoother, and decisions feel sharper. You saw that against St. Mirren. The goals were not lucky. They were not random moments. They came from build-up, pressure, and composure. They came from a side that believes it can grow into something stronger. That belief spreads through a support like wildfire, and once that happens, everything around the club feels different. Over in the green half of the city, though, things are not moving in the same direction. You hear supporters asking how a club with so many resources can look so disjointed. They talk about losing matches where the basics fall apart. They mention the way teams press against them and instantly cause problems. They mention how quickly possession turns into panic. They mention how defenders hesitate, how midfielders lose duels, how forwards look isolated. When fans reach a point where they cannot even watch 90 minutes without frustration, it is a warning sign, not of a single bad result, but of a deeper issue. Matches like the most recent one only amplified that. Celtic looked like a side trying to perform a version of football that they are not ready for. They looked overwhelmed by pressure and unsure of what to do without time on the ball. Opponents took advantage of that, closing down passes, forcing mistakes, and punishing every lapse in concentration. The crowd could feel it. The opposition could smell it, and the players could not change it. That is where the situation becomes worrying. It is not just losing, it is losing without a sense of control. Meanwhile, Rangers seem far more prepared to compete. They are not relying on chaos to win. They are building performances. The midfield offers support. The defense communicates, and the attack works with movement instead of hope. You can see patterns. You can see intention. You can see players trusting the structure. It is not about thinking the title race is done or that history has been rewritten, but it is about recognizing progress. It is about seeing a team step forward instead of stepping sideways. And now the league table has a new layer of tension. Seis Pontos might not sound small, but in football it can vanish if one team keeps growing while the other stands still. Momentum matters, confidence matters, pressure matters. Every match now carries weight. Every drop point from Celtic invites questions. Every victory from Rangers invites possibilities. It is still early enough to stay grounded, but late enough to see patterns forming. Supporters know that the emotional side of football drives everything. That is why the next derby feels so significant. It is not about bragging rights or noise on social media. It is about identity. It is about proving that the shift people feel is real. If Rangers step into that match with the same organization and belief they have shown recently, they will make it a fight. If Celtic enter it still searching for answers, the 90 minutes could be long. Nothing in that fixture is predictable, but the build-up already feels different. You imagine the players in the dressing room right now. They know the opportunity, they know what is at stake, not just in terms of points, but in terms of power. Because when one side looks like they are rising and the other looks like they are struggling, derbies take on a life of their own. The side with belief plays with clarity. The side with doubt plays with caution. One plays to win. The other plays not to lose. That is where matches are decided long before the whistle. Rangers look like a squad ready to test themselves. They look like a group learning how to manage adversity instead of collapsing under it. When mistakes happen, they recover. When pressure comes, they reorganize. When chances appear, they take them. Those are the traits of a team trying to grow, not just survive. And it is that growth that has supporters imagining where the season could lead if progress continues. Celtic, though, are confronting uncomfortable questions. Supporters are wondering how long patience will last. They are asking when identity will return. They are unsure if the manager can turn it around in time. They know the squad should be performing better, and that expectation makes every defeat heavier. When a fan base starts using words like shameful, embarrassing, or hopeless, it leaves a mark. That mark sits on every training session, every press conference, every match day warm-up. Confidence becomes fragile, and fragility is the worst opponent of all. Rangers cannot afford to slow down now. If this momentum is real, the next fixtures will prove it. Performances need consistency, the defense needs concentration, and the attack needs sharper decisions in the final third. It is not enough to play well in moments. It needs to happen across full matches, across consecutive weeks, across difficult venues. That is how title challenges are built, not through noise, but through repetition, through habits, through winning matches, even when the football is not perfect. The supporters know it. They can feel that something is changing, not finished, not complete, but changing. If the players keep matching the energy of the fans, if the performances keep improving, if belief keeps building, then the conversation around this league will only get louder, because momentum does not ask permission. It arrives, it grows, it takes shape, it changes everything around it. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications to get all the exclusive news about Rangers FC. Don't overlook any details about your beloved team. It's crucial for Rangers FC fans. Sky Sports has just dropped a bombshell that's sending ripples across Ibrox and beyond. Ryan Kent could be making a sensational return to Rangers, and not just as another face in the squad, but potentially as the outright spearhead of their attack. While nothing is set in stone, whispers around Scottish football circles are growing louder, suggesting that Kent's old stomping grounds might once again play host to the winger whose pace and trickery left defenders spinning during his previous spell. Insiders hint that the Rangers hierarchy has been quietly working behind the scenes, exploring avenues to bring Kent back to Glasgow. The speculation is that his return could coincide with a shift in the team's attacking philosophy, positioning him as the central figure in a more aggressive, forward-thinking approach. Fans are already imagining the sort of dynamism he could bring to the front line. His runs behind defensive lines, pinpoint crosses, and knack for decisive goals could make him the heartbeat of the attack once more. Kent's previous stint at Rangers was marked by moments of brilliance that often turned tight matches in favour of the light blues. Supporters still speak fondly of his electric dribbles and the flair he displayed, particularly in key fixtures where his contribution seemed almost pivotal. Rumours suggest that the player himself has expressed a desire to return to familiar surroundings, hinting that a reunion with Steven Gerrard's successor and the current coaching staff might be on the cards. There's talk that contract negotiations are in their early stages, but sources insist that the excitement among fans has already hit fever pitch. The potential return also raises intriguing tactical questions. Would Kent slot in on the wing, or might the Rangers' brain trust deploy him in a more central, free-roaming role to exploit his creativity? Could this move be the missing piece in a squad eager to reclaim domestic dominance and make waves in European competition? Football pundits are already speculating that if Kent regains his previous form, Rangers' attack could become one of the most feared in Scottish football. As the rumour mill churns, supporters are torn between cautious optimism and outright excitement. One thing is certain: the mere suggestion of Ryan Kent back in Ibrox blue, leading the charge, is enough to set the Scottish football scene alight. Whether this transfer will materialise remains to be seen, but for now, the possibility alone is stirring dreams of thrilling runs, last-minute goals, and that familiar spark that Kent brought to Rangers before. Greetings, fans. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, as it's greatly appreciated by Rangers FC. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments section below. Until the next video, stay tuned